If you're concerned about burnout, you are far from alone. The most important thing about you taking this quiz right now is that it gives you an opportunity to think about your personal risk and to take steps to get help and support to help you reduce that risk while cultivating your strengths.
Pushing must be practiced during pregnancy while having a bowel movement, so it's second nature in labor. You can't teach somebody a new skill when they're in pain.
We should be aware that working with families of color is so much more than acknowledging religion differences or cultural differences, food preferences, and language barrier.
Breastfeeding is about women feeding their babies, sharing their bodies, but their bodies are houses to their lives.
The non-human primates, they engage in placentophagy, but there is a loss, maybe in the course of the cultural evolution. So we have the biological evolution where we came from the non-human primates to the ones where we think we are now Homo sapiens. But why is the behavior of placentophagy lost? Or this is an interesting question.
One of the reasons why pregnancy specifically is so complex immunologically is because of this flipping-flopping changes of inflammatory states. So first and third trimesters being pro-inflammatory states, second trimester being an anti-inflammatory state. So second trimester bliss, right? There's no inflammation. Everybody feels good.
What havening is essentially hacking the brain. So even though people are going to be awake, we're going to hack the brain even though they're sitting there in front of us or ourselves, and we're going to get our brain into the delta wave category.
Women in OBGYN, we learn and we model some things that we see the guys being successful at doing. But in midwifery being predominantly always being female, I wonder if there's some timidity at making the first move or knocking down doors.
I think one of the biggest lessons for me with betrayal specifically is being okay with other people believing lies about, believing the wrong thing about, or, yes, I've heard that, or yes, okay, I'm not going to spend a bunch of time and my own energy to try to dispel rumors to people that might so easily be swayed.
In my mind, putting together a contract with a new partner, with a person, with whatever you're doing, is as wise as signing a prenup when you have something to protect, because it's the same thing, right? You have something to protect. It's you. You need to protect you, your heart, your needs, your finances, your home, whatever it is.
Let's provide trauma-informed care, but our midwives are not being trauma-informed for themselves.
We can't talk about advocacy without talking about rights. As it turns out, your clients have a great deal. So the first thing that we want to mention is EMTALA. And before I mention this, let me just say, many of the medical staff may not be aware of this federal law. In fact, when I learned about it from a nurse friend, she told me that she printed off copies for everyone on her unit, her L&D unit, and gave it to them. It's because she wanted everyone to understand it. It was new information for most of them.
It's a mistake to think that okay, all Muslims do this, or if I learn ABC about Muslims or about any other religious group, now I know them. Now I know what people believe.
Women who are even told by the OB, if you really want to breech birth, go home and do it because you're not allowed here. That creates distrust because the person is openly saying to them, I don't actually think this is what you need, but for reasons that have nothing to do with you, I'm going to now try to push this thing on you that actually has risks for you. When OBs do that, it loses trust. And when midwives do it, it loses trust.
You are a part of this wise woman lineage. You are a part of the wisdom midwifery lineage that draws from this deep matriarchal well.
Whenever midwives get into trouble, do you know what standards they're held to? They're held to obstetrical standards of practice. That's the way they're judged.
Handling criticism with grace is a skill. It does not come automatically. Staying calm and professional while someone is yelling at you or while you are reading bad press is super challenging.
I prefer in my practice not to separate whether it's the medicinal properties of the herbs or the medicinal effect of human touch or the power of ritual.
When you call EMS, it's a paramilitary construct. Their whole setup is underneath a paramilitary paradigm. That's what they're used to.
Color is not an indication for blow-by unless SATs support it. And so that was an old NRP intervention that's no longer supported in the NRP algorithm.
So how can we start building that momentum and shed anything that's been holding us back and have some energy and some family and all those things to start off the 2025 year.
I'm able to communicate my vision for a brighter future for our Native folks and birthing persons and families. I want people to know that there are opportunities for us to thrive, and that comes with access to and knowledge about our language and culture.
Midwives need to create or enhance a community around themselves. It is so important not to stand alone. To choose sisters and brothers who will remind you when you are remiss, who will pick you up when you fall, who are going to inspire you when your energy flags. We cannot do the work, the vital work of remothering the world alone.